Welcome to this training module, how to use events to grow your business. And I was taught this when I first got in the industry. My mentor said to me, David, you can try to become the expert and share all this with every person who gets started in the business, or you can just get good at a couple things, and one of them being how to promote the next event, where the leaders of the event will teach your team everything they need to know. And if you can get real good at promoting events, the event will build your business for you, because that will train your team on what to do, how to do it, even give them the belief to succeed. And see, it wasn't long, about 3 days, that I attended my first event and I got it. I understood, because I know how I felt when I walked out of that room. I knew the belief I had risen to by being in that room that my sponsor couldn't give me. My sponsor was doing very well financially, but there was something about coming to a group meeting. Something about the spirit of that the body of all the builders sitting there together, the body of all the believers, if you will, saying, we're going to do this together. And that took me to a new level. I saw people look like me, felt like me, talk like me. And I knew if they can do it, I can do it. And so there was something, an intangible, it's hard to put our finger on, but I just call it an energy level that comes from an event and a belief level. And if you can't instill that in me, I may quit when I'm riding that emotional roller coaster. But if instead you can give me something like a preservative, and if I can have that preservative instilled in me, I'll stick it out through more trials. And that preservative, I think, are events. Regional and national events, conference calls, weekly events, luncheons, gatherings, barbecues, whatever type of event you can have that pulls people together helps. But there's a set of events that we build and we count on that the corporation puts on and your leaders put on, so that you can have a prescribed series of events to go through that build the belief, build the expertise, build the knowledge, and install the correct mindware. So with that said, let's talk about this for a moment. You've got this big event coming up. Maybe this is a regional event or a national event coming up. Let's look at a national. Let's say there's a national 90 days away. And you want to have as many people in there as you can. Why? They get to meet the owners. They get to meet the executive team. They get to see all the other leaders from around the country. They see recognition. This is where life is happening. This is where all the who's who of the business are. This is where you meet the company meets you. And you feel comfortable. Inside, you start to believe deeply in who this company is. They're professionally created. You've got video crews and projection screens, and you've got lights and dances and all kinds of things going on. You walk out of there and it's like, man, this company is for real. You do not feel this in your corporate job. We're not talking about annual get-togethers with your company. Those are boring. We're talking about a fun, fact-filled, inspirational, motivational event that's heartfelt. And when you've got that, they are in for life. You come to an event like this, you are in for life. Now, if you come yourself, just one person, that's pretty good, because you'll have that preservative that I talk about. You'll be inspired, and the business will be instilled within you. But how much more money are you making? You're better equipped for the next quarter. But what if you had 5 people with you? Now you have 5 people who see the business, 5 people believe in the business, 5 people who have that same set of beliefs. Do you think those 5 are going to go home and do a little more work? Yes, they are. What if you had 50 people? My goodness. So if you understand the ingredient of the event is a preservative, an inspiration, and a dedication to the business that everyone in your team will get by going to that event, a belief system that you can't break, they'll get by going to that event. And the more people you have there, the more secure your foundation is of your business. And then if at this event, what happens? They promote the next national event. And you have time for all of these 50 people to get people to the next national event, 90 days away, 6 months away, whatever the next event is, you now promote from this one to that event. So the key is getting the 50 people at that event. How do you get 50 people there when it's just you yourself right now and it's only 90 days away? Well, do you think you send out invitations like to a wedding and invite 50 people to come to this city outside of your state to attend? No, not at all. How do you get 50 people to that national event? That takes an investment of time and money. It's usually a weekend, hotel stays and everything. I'll tell you this, you don't invite to an event. You never invite to a national or regional event. You promote national and regional events to people already, I'm going to repeat, people already in the business. So you don't take someone brand new as a prospect list and invite them to the event unless it's a day or two before the event. what you do is you promote to existing representatives why they want to be at that event. And the way you promote events, just like you learned in edification, is promote the speakers of the event and what they're going to get out of it. So how then do you get 50 people here? If you're promoting, well, who do you promote to? Well, what you promote to isn't even the national. You promote to the regional event taking place in your area. So if you had 100 people at this regional event, do you think 50 of them will go to the national event? Of course they will. If you have 100 people, you may have 300 people at the national event because they'll have already experienced so much. They'll be on fire building and adding new people to the business throughout this timeline here. And the more people you have in the business, the more you'll have at the national event. Again, you promote to the people in the business, the regional and national events, and they'll get larger in size. So if our goal then is to have at least 50 people at the regional event, so we have 50 minimum at the national event, how do we get 50 to the regional event? The same way. We don't invite people to the regional event. We promote to people who are already in the business that they go to the regional event. Well, how do you get 50 people in the business then between now and your next regional event? Maybe this is 6 weeks from now. And maybe this is 12 weeks from now, right? So what you do is you look at your weekly meetings that are taking place, and if that's 6 weeks away, you have 6 meetings going on in your local area that you introduce new people to. And if you had 3 people at the next meeting, and 3 people say yes to the business, then what happens is you've got a whole week for you and these 3 to do PBRs in this week here, and you get a bunch of PBRs between you and the 3 people, and next Thursday, maybe you have 12 people now at the event. And of the 12, maybe 8 decide to get involved. And those 8 have PBRs. Not all of them will, but maybe you get 5 PBRs over the next week. And those 5 PBRs average 4 or 5 people each. So you've got 25 new people seeing the business, maybe 15 get involved, and you got another 15 new people at this event. Right? You see how this continues, then you have 22 at this event, and then 38 at this event. And now you got all these people who've joined the business who are promoting to the regional event. You see how you don't wait. It's called recruiting to invite. You build people now in the business who then get promoted to the regional event. Now at the regional event, you get a taste. You get trained by some local experts or regional experts, some out-of-town experts. You get a taste for what you're going to get at the national. And they always talk about the national, but what happens between the regional and the national events? Weekly meetings, right? You got a bunch of weekly meetings again and PBRs. And all you do is you continue to remain consistent. What's the word? Consistent. You remain consistent week over week over week over week with PBRs booked, ended by weekly meetings. And every week is a new life cycle, if you will. And you come to the weekly meeting and it's kind of like a progress report. How'd I do? You know, in a golf match, you golf 18 holes, but after 9, you kind of do a progress report. You say, how am I doing? Right? And so this business is the same way. Every weekly meeting, look at it and say, how am I doing? Did my group grow in size this week? Do I have new guests here this week? I got to get more PBRs going between now and next Tuesday's meeting or next Thursday's meeting. What am I going to do? And I got to get some PBRs going. And then next week, progress report, how am I doing? Man, it's just like a weight loss goal or anything else. You weigh in every so often. You weigh in at the weekly meetings. And this is a chance to course correct. It's like halftime in a football game. You come in, if you're getting your tail handed to you, you create a new game plan, you get out there and try to whoop some butt. You don't keep doing the same thing you've been doing and hope to win the game. If no one's showing and no one's showing and no one's showing and no one's showing and no one's showing, it's time to course correct. Promote differently to this event. Use PBRs, 3-way calls to fill the weekly meeting. The weekly meeting then promotes PBRs and 3-way calls to fill the next weekly meeting. And before long, you've got a bunch of people at the regional who are educated and excited, and they're now going through and creating momentum into the next quarter. And by the time you get to the annual meeting or the quarterly meeting, 50 people is quite easy. Now, I got to tell you, when I first got in this industry, we had a goal every time, and I'd encourage you all to have this goal. Have more people at the national than any other city in the country. If it's an international event, have any more than any other city in the world. And set that goal between you and your team. Set that goal with even people that aren't in your team that are in your city. And you watch a group unify and come together. It's just like any other thing. When you get together and you want to be competitive, you want to be the best, you start promoting. And when you do so, the business is instilled, the beliefs instilled, the confidence is instilled, the know-how is instilled, even the willpower is instilled at these national events. It all comes right back down, strip it right back down to the ridiculous. Next week's meeting. How many people are you going to have there? How many are you going to approach? How many are you going to effectively approach? How many 3-way calls or sizzle tools are you going to put them in front of? How many PBRs are you going to put people into? And how many PBRs are you going to have in your team? That's where the rubber meets the road, and that's how this gets larger and larger. How many people are going to be on the Sunday night call? How many people are going to be on the conference calls, national calls? All of those things instill a little bit more. So learn how to be the best promoter of an event, and you'll never have to do an event. If you can promote and fill the events, you never have to do one, and you'll have the biggest business. He or she who has the most butts in the seats, the most people in the chairs, will make the most money. And we just showed the easiest way to get the most people in the chairs. Never invite to the event until days before. Always promote it to existing representatives. Take this, grow your events and grow your business. Thank you for watching this short video clip.